What's poppin', kiddos?
We're your hosts, Silly Sophie.
And Nightstand Nick. How you doing today there, Sophie?
You know, I'm pretty good, but today we're discussing a rather sad topic.
Oh, what? It's about the end of the world, right?
Right. Should we introduce our title?
Yes.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and we feel epico.
Where we discuss how stories about the future can warn us about the present.
Here today, our fellow hosts have some predictions about how the world ended, and here they are.
The world is ending right now. We need your help, please. I'm crying right now. I know the fate of the world.
Don't calm down. We have an audience here.
No, Nick, we're here to talk about a serious topic.
No.
No, stop it.
What up, broskies? This is Silly Sophie, and this is how I predicted the ending of the world. My prediction of how the world would end if we don't recognize current events was like an economic debt issue turned into war. So I predicted our world would end as we know it this way because I feel like all anyone ever cares about these days is making money and spending it. They'd rather focus on the worldly value of things or their worldly possessions rather than actually taking care of the earth and preserving it for future generations. So a quote from my narrative is, quote, "It's the corrupt government and their need for superior rich people to be left over. The rich live and the poor die," end quote. I'm signing off. Adios amigos. Now on to Crazy Cora.
Howdy y'all, I'm Crazy Cora, and I'm the second author. My story took place on a remote French Polynesian island. The plot thickens when my main character, Jane, finds the gem that has been missing and been wrecking their land. But her and a complete stranger are stuck in the cave they found it in. They have to figure out how to get out of the cave safely. The quote I used for my story is, Jane, you found it. You found the missing gem. You're gonna be a hero," Clay yelled. His body was completely full of excitement. He paused and realized that Jane had the power of the region all along. End of quote. The theme for my story is that we have the power within us to fix our problems, but we realize it when it's too late. See y'all next time. Now, on to Hannah.
What up? It's Hannah here, and my story on the end of the world is about war and politics. My prediction of how the world will end is by one tragic nuclear war. Some people will call this World War III. People are ignorant to the power of our weapons and how a war this big will end humanity. The protagonist Ethan is faced with surviving this war and claims that the world is coming to an end and everything and everyone will die.
Well, hey there, chieftains. They call me NP, aka Nick. And you know what's interesting? What stories about the future tell us about the present? In my story, the humans took the L. Death due to a cloud of smog created by out-of-control emissions. Nowadays, people in positions of power don't care much about how much they're polluting in the atmosphere. They care about money. They don't think it's their problem. Here's a quote from my story when the protagonists find a cloud of smog. The men stand there for a moment, knowing where this cloud came from. How could mankind let this happen? Can we not look at the big picture? Well, that's all for me. Now to pass it on to the other people in my group.
Wow, it smells pretty stanky up in here. I bet we need some Febreze.
Yeah. I'm out of this piece. Enjoy the ad, Chief.
Peace.
You've got to wash this whole room.
Are you kidding? Wash it?
Let's wash it with Febreze.
For all the things you can't wash, use Febreze Fabric Refresher.
Whoa.
Hey, Mrs. Walker. Before we realized the world was ending, we were all just sitting around in the studio about to record something else. It was like an ordinary day.
Sure was.
Yeah, you're right. That kind of reminds me of that one story we read, the
Me
beginning of the end of the world. People didn't realize what they were doing was going to end the world up until the world actually ended. It was also normal.
That's sort of like the basis of all our predictions. Nobody realized what they were doing was going to bring us to this point.
And now we're all gonna die.
We be more careful with our weapons and how we use them.
And it connects to our stories about how our world's ending.
Wow.
We'd just like to thank the audience for being here with us, and this is us signing off.
Like and subscribe while you can.
Oh no, we're gonna die.
Bye.